Hello, my biddies. How are you today? I'm doing okay. I hope you're doing well. It's been a rough day for a lot of people, apparently. Um, so hopefully we can find some entertainment here today. It's all about the entertainment, right? It's not that silly. It's about the community. All right. This is our 50th episode. I think I need a balloon or something. One of those party things, party noisemakers things. To celebrate. 50. Didn't think I'd do that many. I'm still at it. I like it. So you're going to have to put up with me. I still haven't looked up that decision making thing yet. I got to do that. We got to go over that. All right. So we have reality roundup to begin. Um, Starting with Balin Out Loud, and it's entitled My Brain Feels Different. So we open with Balin and Colin's talking head. Balin is saying that there are a lot of cool people and fun things in New England. And Colin corrects her that is just England. He says New England, US, England, across the water. And Balin laughs at us. Balin's laughing at herself as he says this. Going back and forth between the talking head and the pub. Um, Colin ended up not calling the guy out that was staring. I still say it wasn't that bad. Not really staring. He was more looking and paying attention to them, but they were doing the same back to him. So if you don't want somebody doing it to you, maybe don't do it to them. I mean, I think like ignoring him completely would have been a better way to deal with it. If you just ignore him, he'll start ignoring you eventually, unless he's going to be an ass. Don't let him notice your behavior at all, like at all. And if you don't notice him, it won't bother you as much, or at all, maybe at all. But stop drawing attention to him. So Balin tries the beer and likes it. She says it tastes like when I burp popcorn up a day later. So gross. Oh my goodness. So the waiter brings the food, and the fish and chips look amazing. It's like a whole fish, like a whole fish. Beckner says it was an 8.5 and tells Vic to put vinegar on his. He says it's really good. Balin doesn't seem to like much, so Alan gives her some chips, aka fries, and she goes in her purse to get out some ranch because she can't eat chips without ranch. Her parents are appropriately appalled that she brought ranch. It's like, it's such a childish thing. Like, can't you just eat what's there? Seriously. Like I said, instead of bringing the little bitty tubes, she could have brought just a whole bottle or asked for it to be provided. I'm sure they could have gotten some somehow. So day 4 in London, they're going to finally meet the New Pulse people. Uh, so they go to the place, and she's sitting there in between them. It's really weird how it's just sitting there in between them as they sit at the table. Looks like a fitness watch, basically. Um, the goal of the company is to have it available over the counter, which I think is good because if it works for Tourette's, it might work for some other stuff. They expect at least a 20% decrease in ticks in both severity and number. So that's, I mean, it's not 50%, it's not 75%, but it's something at least. Okay, so finally, the moment of truth. You wear the device on the inside of your wrist and control it with a phone. So they put it on her. It goes from 0 to 24. She gets up to an 8 and says it feels numb and tingly and that her brain feels different. She says she feels the urge, but it's lessened and she feels calm. Julie is crying. Colin is tearing up. So they're going to let her take it out in public and see how it goes. She takes it off and the ticks start right back up. So while they were there, the boys went with Grandma Candy to the batting cage. Um, and they're batting with cricket bats, which is kind of funny. So they're going to go meet up with them at the batting cage and test the device. So she had taken it off in the meantime. I don't know why you would do that, but she did. She puts the device on and tells Grandma she feels calm and her brain feels different. And they can all tell that she's happy and more tears. And she says she hasn't felt like that since she was 13 years old. So that's over 10 years. So it seems like the device works, which is awesome. And I'm wondering whether it will work for other things like depression, ADHD, bipolar, all kinds of mental illness issues could be helped by something like that. Um, if that's how it works. I mean, we don't know. Balin takes the opportunity to ask her dad to hang out with Colin more while they're in England. Day 5, London. Balin says the new pulse device is bittersweet because she knows it works and she can't take it with her, which I can completely understand that. That would be horrible. Um, she's ticking that JB, the camera guy, is doing crystal meth, and he's just over there laughing at her. She brings up the baby talk that Colin's been on, and Balin's mom agrees that baby talk is too soon, and I agree. She needs to. She's in a good place. She's getting better, but she needs more improvement before she has is the responsibility of a kid. Colin and Adam are at a place called the Boneyard, and they are putting on heavy leather belts or aprons, sorry, because they're going to make a Viking knife. Colin is totally not into it, but he knows Alan is, so he's going to do it anyway. I think Alan needs to do something that Colin wants to do next. I don't know what Colin's into, but Alan seems to be into all the major alpha male crap. So, and I don't get that from Colin at all. Alan compliments Colin on how he is in the relationship and that he doesn't want Colin to feel like he's being judged constantly. Both Balin and Colin are mentioning to the parents that they are considering moving to the UK so she can access the new pulse device. And then they leave with their new knives. I think the other boys would have liked to gone and done that too. That would have been really fun. But I guess it was Colin and Alan time. I don't know what the boys were doing. Day 6 in London. Yeah, we're going fast now. Balin thinks Colin and Alan have reset their relationship and they're getting off to a new start. Balin says the timeline for kids has to be in her court because of her condition, and he says he's not pressuring her, but it sure feels like he is. Feels like he is to me, so I'm sure it feels like he is to her. She says she wants to concentrate on the wedding for now. And honestly, they have time for kids. They're young. She's only 25. I got married when I was 25, didn't have kids till I was 30. It's fine. The end is nigh for the vacation, and they're bringing up that they are venue broke. Balin says she wants help with the wedding. They ask Alan to make a cross, and they want a backyard shower like they had the engagement party in their backyard. She wants her shower to be back there like that. And that's nice. So the parents tell her they have money set aside for all the kids' weddings. So they're going to get a little bit of money, which will be helpful. That's nice of them. Malin also says that she wants both of her parents to walk her down the aisle instead of just her dad. And her mom doesn't think she can do it. She will. She can and she will. It was very nice. And that, I think, is the last episode of the season. Guess we're going to get the wedding next year or next season whenever they decide to put it up. All right. Excuse me. Next we have we're going to go to our Reddit reads. This is from Entitled People, and it's entitled Date expected me to cook for her after she humiliated me in public. This happened back in 22. I got a job in Bangalore and was new to the city. Being single and alone, I tried my luck at dating and matched with a lady who happened to be from my native place as well. That's nice. We clicked instantly and started hanging out together on weekends. When she visited my apartment for the first time ever, I made her fried rice and mashed tapioca. That sounds gross. fish curry, and some roast beef since I came to know that she loved all of these homely foods and missed them badly. Then she had then she'd made a habit to visit me on the weekends and specifically asked me to make them for her. Me being a person who loves cooking and wells feeding others didn't bother about it much. On one of our dates, we visited a South Indian restaurant and was having a dish called parata. It's spelled like parrot, but with two T's in it, with an extra T and an A on the end, which is a bread item made out of flour. She commented on how the parata tasted awful, and she knows how to make it better. My done head politely commented that sounded awesome and I would like to try her parata once. She rolled her eyes and stared at me for some time, started lecturing me on feminism and stuffs. What? Why would you do that? He wants to try your food, dude. You've been eating his. Obviously, he's not like that. She went on explaining that society changed and women no longer cook for men. Hmm. Yeah, right. She went on lecturing that I should change the way I see women. I should be more mature, etc. She was loud enough that everyone around us could hear her lecturing, and I was so humiliated and embarrassed to the core. I didn't react, but it was a painful realization. Yeah, she's the type of feminist that give women a bad name. I always paid for her food, cooked for her, gave her a good time in bed, gave the emotional support she needed, chauffeured her around, and picked her up from her workplace on late night, all to be humiliated and disrespected. So he's doing all of these chivalrous things that women forever have expected men to do. And then she has the audacity to say she won't cook for him. Not even one dish that she apparently prides herself on. What is up with that? I silently dropped her to her place that day and ghosted her just like that. Ignore every call and text. Funny enough, the next weekend she started messaging me if I'm making her special food for her. This time I spoke up with a clear no. She was surprised and shocked as if I'm her maid and saying no to her. Then she tried coming to my apartment, but since I haven't given her a guest pass for approval, the security didn't let her in. She tried to contact me multiple times and I blocked her from all my social media. Months later, she texted me from her office number stating that she missed me and I was the best thing that ever happened to her. Well, maybe you shouldn't have ruined it then, girl. I never bothered replying. Edit. I can see in the comments that I acted immaturely and ghosted without explanation. I simply didn't want to waste my energy on a lost cause. At the at the end, she would be able to convince me since I loved her and I was highly empathetic. Better cut off a finger than let it spread up, amputating your arm. Well, I mean, he has a point there. If you know you can't handle the confrontation and you need to avoid it for your own mental health, then that's what you should be doing. Is I mean, that might have been what's best for him is to ghost her. Famous something or other. Her mask slip and you had the perfect response. And they're saying it's, oh my God. Somebody says, what slipped? I'm confused what she did wrong. Like, dude, really? That was a guy. He says his thing is Mr. Island Cat says she sounds like a princess, not a feminist. Yeah. Internal set said I was going to say this, and feminists might have insisted that she also cook and pay as they are being equal and not being catered to. This woman was a princess, not a. That's a good way to put it. She's a princess, not a feminist. She just thinks she's a feminist, but really she's just an entitled princess. Next, we have What Should I Do? And it's entitled My Neighbor Keeps Asking Me to Watch Her Kid for Just a Minute and then disappears for hours. What do I do? Call the police? That's what you do. You call the police. Okay, you wait the couple hours and then you try and call her. Text her. Call her. Text her. No answer? Call the police. A single mom recently moved in and seemed nice. She gave my girlfriend and I her home baked cookies when they settled in. Well, that's weird. You're supposed to be giving them the food. I would say She's a better neighbor than the one who moved out, who would loudly blast music at 3 a.m. whenever him and his friends liked it. Not until she started knocking every other day to ask if I could keep an eye on her 6-year-old while she grabbed something real quick. My girlfriend has work, so I'm left in our apartment. Well, that's disturbing because she doesn't know this guy. She's leaving her little kid with him. The quick errands last for about 3 hours. The kid is well behaved, thankfully, but the mother doesn't leave snacks for her son or fresh clothes. Sometimes the kid is scared to go to the bathroom, so I have to accompany him. I would feed him when he says he's hungry. My girlfriend and I don't have kids. I didn't sign up for this. I searched for jobs at home, going back and forth with Indeed, Glassdoor, JobCat, Hiring Cafe, LinkedIn, and every job hunting app. I accomplished my freelance gig and rebuild my portfolio. Last time I said I couldn't because I had an interview. She insisted, saying I'm literally home all day. What should I even do at that point? Say no. I have an interview. Just because I'm home doesn't mean I'm not busy. Because saying I'm not the babysitter feels like it'll break my girlfriend's friendship with her. Oh well, your girlfriend doesn't need to be friends with her. She's taking advantage of you. Stop letting her. Weeby Fox says, say no and tell her exactly why you're saying no. This is not a friend. This is someone using you for free babysitting services. Yeah, charge her. You owe me $30 for the last 3 hours, lady. Own set says no is a complete sentence and I wouldn't explain a thing. Yeah, you don't have to explain a thing. That's true too. Empty potato quotes, you never explain. Your friends don't need it and your enemies won't believe you anyway. And that's by Albert Hubbard, whoever he is. I don't know. Next, we have malicious compliance, and it says, hope you enjoyed your drive. This sounds interesting. I work for a property management company. My job includes time sensitive sign offs in the New York City Department of Buildings portal, which we now normally have an adequate time to sign off. Most of the time, it's just logging in and clicking a box or two, but missing a sign off can mean big fines. Dan, an older manager brought out of retirement, handled compliance. He was not tech savvy. Oh, I bet he was fine tech savvy. He just didn't want to do it. I hate people like that. People younger than me, like, oh, I don't have the internet. Dude, you're on Facebook. I see you. I see you on Facebook. After he missed a sign off and the company was fined, we met with our boss to figure out how to stop it from happening again. I suggested one shared company login with alerts going to our company's administrative assistant. She would see the emails and how to get stuff signed. Dan refused. He blamed liability and unauthorized sign offs. But the real issue was that he waited until the last minute and didn't want anyone seeing the reminder emails filling his inbox. The owner kept things the same, but warned Dan that the next mistake would cost him his bonus. Bonus nothing. Should cost him his job. Soon after, staff told me Dan was trying to dig up dirt on me. I sent a company-wide email calling him out for that and stating I would no longer be helping him with sign-offs. Months later, while Dan was on vacation, an engineer called me and asked if Dan still worked with us. He'd been trying to reach him for over 2 weeks with no response. A sign-off was due the next day. I told the engineer Dan was on vacation, but I said I would text him. The next morning, Dan called me in a panic and asked if I could handle it for him. I told him I would not be in the office and reminded him of that. Because of his concern about security, it would not be appropriate for me to sign in for him. I told him he could do it from his phone and hung up. Dan was not able to do that. Instead, he drove 6 hours round trip during his vacation just to sit at his desk and check one box. Dan's a moron. Dan, the illiterate man. The computer illiterate man, sorry. Sucks to be Dan. They do 6 hours one way? No, it's only a 6 hour round trip. That's not that much. Could have been 6 hour one way. Then you'd be in the car for 12 hours. Could be 12 hours and then be in the car all day. All day and all night. Yeah, maybe brush up on your technology, Dan. If you're gonna live in the computer age, you need to run a computer. There's no excuse for a working person not to know how to computer. Next, we have AITAH, and it's entitled My Fiance is Furious with Me for Telling My Family to Start Eating Christmas Breakfast Without Her. AITAH. Was she late? If she was late, she has no reason to expect other people to wait for her. Food gets cold when it sits out and waits. Every year we have Christmas breakfast as part of our celebration, and this year it was organized for 11 a.m. My partner was aware of the time it was planned for, but was running almost 2 hours late. That's 1 o'clock for breakfast? Are you kidding me? Even the Biddy brunch bunch doesn't start that late. I told my family to go ahead and eat as they spent the morning preparing and cooking everything. I said I would eat with my partner when she arrived. However, I am completely in the doghouse for excluding her from breakfast, and now I am an a hole for inviting her even if they weren't going to wait. No, she should have got her butt up earlier and gotten there on time. My opinion is that it's unfair to punish everyone for one person's poor time management. Correct, sir. But I'm curious if I'm the jerk here or the logical one. Nope. Fiber Kitty says NTA, she excluded herself. It sucks that she's trying to blame you for the consequences of her own actions. Little Fairy says, right, she should be apologizing. Jade Raven says, I'd be mortified if everyone waited on me to eat when I was running 2 hours late. I don't want people waiting for me if I'm 10 minutes late. Don't wait for me. Go ahead and eat. I'll catch up later. 30 minutes later. 30 minutes later. Oh, 30 minutes later. Okay, I get it. The E's are threes, so it's a little difficult for me. Dude, if I wanged up by 2 hours on my own birthday, I'd have everyone eat and party without me until I got there. What in the narcissistic hell processes anyone to think that a group should wait hours to start anything? Puzzle-headed Pay says, if I was 2 hours late for my funeral, I'd tell everyone to proceed without me. No kidding. What entitlement. What is wrong with people? Especially people who are late, continuously late, and they expect you to wait for them every time. It's like, no, you're being disrespectful. You're just disrespecting my time. My time is precious to me. Be on time, please. It's not that hard. If you can't be on time, start earlier. If you're wasting all of that time, then you need to figure something out because that's not right. Next, we have Benign Existence, entitled Christmas Dinner. Keep in mind that all of these were from December, so Christmas was happening. My son, oh, I hate it when these initials. We'll go back to Dan because, we've already had one. And his longtime girlfriend, Mary, traveled separately for Christmas. That's fine. Her parents live about an hour from us. She was making a short trip due to work, so we weren't sure if we'd get to see her or just send her presents back with Dan. Christmas morning, Dan tells me Mary thinks she can make it for dinner. I told her it would be okay. Is this all right? Should be. Am so pleased on so many accounts that she made time for us. They live far away, so we don't see either of them often. That he trusted our hospitality to say yes without asking, and that he gave me a heads up in time to set the table properly. Everything went well. Shocker. It was a great visit. We enjoyed dinner, and everyone helped with cleanup. We got to see her open her gifts, and they were a success. Just an extra special evening because we weren't expecting that it could happen. I love Benign Existence. It's so nice, calm, the way things should go. Lucifer Loves Techno says, my partner was sick, so he didn't make the trip up to my parents' house this year. Both my parents made multiple remarks that he was missed and they wished he was here. While they were talking about missing my partner, my mom paused, looked at my sisters with their respective partners and said with a loving smile, I'm just so happy all my kids ended up with such great men. There were definitely some losers in there for all of us, so for a while, so that felt really validating. OP says, yes, seeing your kid healthy, loving relationship with someone you genuinely like is the best. Happy for you and your family. Yeah. Candy Lady says, this is how healthy relationships are born and nurtured. Congratulations on raising your son well. Yes, congratulations. Congratulations, OP. You got a good kid there. And he sounds like he's got a good partner. So when's the wedding? I want a wedding. This is from Evil Buildings, and it's entitled "Looks Like a Villain's Headquarters." It does like make me think Darth Vader. Not gonna lie, makes me think Darth Vader. I don't know why. Empire. It's the DC Tower 1 in Vienna, Austria. Oops, I don't get to do that on that one. uh, no interesting comments on that one. Just no Mill. Mill can not be trusted around newborns any longer. I posted a few months ago regarding the mother in law who invited a bunch of her friends to our baby shower despite us saying not to and made her uninvite them. Since then, we welcomed our twins 3 months ago. Congratulations. They were born at 34 weeks. I mean, 36 would be better, but you take what you can get sometimes with twins. They had a month-long ICU stay. That seems a little long, actually. I hope they're okay. They came home and we did not allow anyone to hold them until their 2-month vaccinations. Mu Mill would cry and even talk to her therapist about not being allowed to hold them. We are still particular about who sees them and holds the babies, and mother-in-law knew this. So we decided to have a date night, and Mill asked if they can go to her house. We said it was fine and dropped them off. As we get there, she said a family member was going to come over to help. We didn't like that last minute notice, but said it was fine because two are a handful. Upon picking them up, we find she had invited more people than she told us. Why are you doing this? Some of her friends, and she tried hiding it but we came to pick them up sooner than she anticipated, and we saw them leaving. We are both pissed off about the situation, and husband put her on notice that if it happens ever again, she will no longer get to watch them. With Thanksgiving coming, I'm now backtracking and think we will not take the babies out to any gathering. Part of this, honestly, is me being spiteful, but also, I don't trust any of her side not to show up sick. Yeah, I know that. I know that one. I know that when we cancel, she's going to have a meltdown, but I feel at this point they can't be trusted and we have no other choice. Edit. I'm loving all those responses in total agreement that mother-in-law has lost all privileges of the baby. Husband seems to be under the impression that since we did not blatantly specify not to invite people, that maybe there should be more than one trial run, but I don't trust the biatch. Yeah, she should not be trusted. That was implied. It was implied. And you were told earlier that they were told earlier that no one was supposed to hold them until they were 2 months old. Opine said, did you also tell her to not run with scissors? FFS. She knew she was being shady. She knew you would not disagree. That's why she had her people leave before your expected return time. The only reason you know is because you came back early. She would never have told you, and having gotten away with it once, she would have repeated the scenario again and again. Yep, that's true. She would have. She would have gotten away with it. She would have done the same thing until you found out about it. You should not go to any group gatherings. Your twins spent 1/3 of their life in the hospital. Depending on where you are, COVID is going around, flu, RSV, measles. Yes, measles. Don't get me started on the measles, pissing me off. You know, we had the measles in this country eradicated, right? Thanks, not anti-vaxxers. Really appreciate that. Do you expect Mill to morph into a reasonable, respectful person or continue to be herself? Based on her previous actions, would she tell you if she were sick? Would she tell you that 3 other couples were coming? Would she tell you that one of those couples flew into town? Would she said tell another couple was sick? Would tell you another couple was sick? No, she wouldn't. No. No, it's a person like that does not need to be in charge of the babies unless you're there. And I mean, I have watched my grandkids sick, but it was at the end of the sickness. When I had the flu, I didn't even see them. I went to their birthday party, sat in a corner outside so no one else would get sick. And then somebody came up and said, "Oh, we're not worried about getting sick." Well, you should be. That's okay. She's finding out. Next, we have Petty Revenge, and it's entitled Teased a Short Person at the Supermarket by her holding something just out of reach. That sounds mean. As a short person, that sounds really bullying. I had an odd one this morning. Went to do the shopping here in New Zealand. It's 9 a.m. on Tuesday, so it's very quiet with the pack and saves. Famous wide aisle policy. There's plenty of room for everyone, so you'd think. I stopped in front of the milk and I was just grabbing it. Someone bumps me with their trolley. Not my fault whatsoever, but I just turned around and said sorry anyway, and they just responded with that vacant death stare. I just walk away. We're not confrontational people by nature, and as rude as it was, no harm was done. Maybe you don't know the person, you don't know what they're dealing with right now. Plus, I figure they might not speak English. Then a few minutes later, I turn into the aisle with oil and I hear, "Excuse me." I glance over and it's the same person. They point to the oil on the top shelf the olive oil on the top shelf that they can't reach. I'm stunned at the audacity of asking me for help, but I keep my cool and ask if she wants virgin or extra virgin. I reply extra They reply extra virgin, so I reach up and grab the bottle. But instead of handing it to her, I say, "You realize that I'm the guy you hit with your trolley a few minutes ago, right?" Their jaw kind of drops briefly before they go back to pretending to be mute with the death stare. So I just held the bottle up in the air and said, "I'm not going to help you unless you apologize," and then held it for a few minutes of silence before being put it back on the shelf and walking away. That You're rude. You're rude. You're just as rude as she is, or they, or whatever it was. I don't say whether it's a woman or a man. You're just as rude as they were. Why would you think this is helping society at all? It's not. Be the better person. Be better. If you had called it out and fine, that's fine, but putting it back on the shelf was wrong. Putting it back on the shelf where they couldn't reach it was wrong, in my eyes. That was beyond what you needed to do. Yeah, people are jerks. Maybe be nice to the jerks and they'll learn to be nicer. It costs you nothing to be kind. It costs them nothing to be kind too, but kindness does not necessarily have to go both ways. You can be kind without them being kind. Next, we have Am I the Jerk, which that other one should have been in, and yeah, you would have been. AITJ for refusing to let my sister in law host her quiet retreat weekend at my house. He thinks my place has the bright energy. Okay, your sister in law is weird. My sister in law, Nia, 35 female, is very into mindfulness and energetic alignment. Woo woo. I am not into woo woo stuff at all, ever. Never will be. It's all the same to me. She lives in a loud, crowded household and wanted a place to host a 48-hour silent retreat for four friends. My house, 29 females, quiet because I live alone. Apparently, that made it a perfect retreat location. She told me she picked my house because the energy here is balanced, and because I barely use the guest room anyway. Yeah, I don't need your woo woo crap in my house. Sorry. That was the first problem. She planned this before even asking me. Well, I guess you're out of luck, aren't you? The second problem, her retreat involves people walking around barefoot, meditating at sunrise in the backyard, using essential oils in every room, and cleansing spaces by rearranging the furniture. Oh no, absolutely not. I told her I wasn't comfortable with strangers staying in my house all weekend. She said I was blocking healing experiences and choosing materialism over human restoration. What about my restoration? What about my restoration? I'm a human, am I not? My brother asked me to just let her do it to keep the peace, but it's my home. AITJ for shutting it down. No, not at all. Spacer Spiff says NTJ, she wants a quiet retreat. She can rent an Airbnb in the woods. Yep, exactly. Junior says, tell your brother to throw a tent in his backyard for her and connect her with nature that way. Yeah, she needs to be out in nature. Professional Yam says, and the oils will help waterproof it. And the stench will keep the raccoons away, but it could attract bears. They can debate the question, man or bear. Ed Lucas says, I'm a gay man. I want to know what oils attract bears. Not that kind of bear, honey. Not that kind of bear. Oh, it's already time for expectation versus reality. We're booking here today. It is entitled French Ice Christmas Ice Cream Cake Picard. Ice cream cake Picard. So it's Picard is apparently the name of the company. I thought it was, Captain Picard from Star Trek. What do I know? It's looking French, I think, to me. So this was the expectation. That is super cute. How can you even do that in a ice cream cake? And this is what they got. They got exactly what they asked for. Isn't it so cute? They must have cost a fortune. I can't imagine that not costing a fortune. Picard always surpasses expectations. This Christmas, they did not let me down. On top of that, tasted amazing. No added fake flavor or chemicals. Grimoire says, not extremely rare advertised detail. Win. Debate to Bean says, Picard is the GOAT, always comes through. I want to know. I want a Picard. Somebody put a couple of GIFs of Picard up. Just as I suspected they would. Because who wouldn't? All right, if you haven't already, please, if you haven't already, I can't talk. Please like, subscribe, and turn on your notifications. Also, participate in the chat. Comment if you're watching later. Make a comment, please. Apparently, YouTube likes that, and we need to get this thing going. Have 50 episodes, dudes. Come on. I try to go live at least 4 times a week, usually about noon Eastern time. Tell your friends, tell your family, tell your enemies, tell everybody you know. Tell the cashier at the grocery store. I don't care. If you have a story of your own or come across a good one in the wild, please send us an email entitled submission. If you would like an email link to today's current live, send an email entitled subscribe. The email is biddybrunchbunch, all one word, at gmail.com. The email address is also in the description. Next, we have our real estate segment, and this is on 0.69 acre lot, and it says nice exclamation point. It's an awful big house for that size lot, if you ask me. This is in Piedmont, California. This is clearly, oh, that's weird. I don't want to do that. That's not the pictures. Where are the pictures? Huh. All right, I guess we'll have to go to the, nope, they just give you, there are no pictures. I'm upset, people. That is not fair. It's just a straight view. Oh, well, it's $7,906,200. Don't look like it. Of course, I can't see any pictures, so how would I know? 7 bedrooms, 9 baths, 7,600 square feet. Not a lot of information. I guess it got sold. Let me try something here. Sometimes there are more than two ways to skin a cat, in case you didn't know. Hehehe 40 pictures, guys. Okay, I guess we're gonna have to scroll down. These pictures are not the greatest, but at least we got some pictures. Like I said, this is an awful small lot for that big of a house. There's like no room. They even have a pool. The pool is in the front yard. Who puts a pool in the front yard? Does it even have a fence around it? I would not want a pool in my front yard, sorry. Do the lions stay or do they go? Because I want the lions. I want the lions. You can have the herons though. Those can go. You can take the herons with you, but leave the lions. That looks like an uncomfortable table. I don't like it. Man, they have all kinds of animal statues around this house. I'm not a fan of I like most of the kitchen. I don't like the countertop. You have the ubiquitous glass table and more animals and a fireplace. You're not really showing me anything here except the stairs. Why? That's a nice little room. I like that. Well, you have actual windows. Is that a three season room? Maybe. Yeah, it just looks like there's a hedge. It doesn't look like there's a fence around the pool. Who wants that kind of liability? Guess if you're rich, you don't care. You can just pay them off. Oh, now we have human animals also. That's weird. I'm sorry. Oh, that's so weird. Bunk beds. Is it a kid's room? Because it looks like I don't want my kids staying in a nice room like that. Not little kids. TV viewing area, a pool table, a shuttle, tabletop shuttle, foosball table. Does that all stay or does that go? Slide and a Thomas the Tank. Oh, my grand boys would kill for that. They would kill for Thomas. Oh, they have a ride. That's got to stay too. That's got to stay. I want to ride Bucky. There is way too much shade on that pool. If I'm gonna have a pool, it better be sunny and warm. Are you serious? Okay. They need to call my son and get this cleaned up because that's what he does a very good job. I would never try and sell a house that had weeds growing in the walkway or driveway like that. That is not no. That's just work. That's just work for the next person. I have rose bushes apparently. There's other firs and trees. Like I said, the pictures are not all that, but whatevs. There it is. Okay. It was built in 1930. It's only got a 3-car garage. Yeah, it's not a big lot for all that. There's a lot across the street from them to the back, or maybe to the back. I don't know. It's right in between two streets. I wouldn't like that either. The taxes, you ready for this? $106,950 a year. I can't pay for that house. I don't even make that much. We don't even make that much in a year. Most of my husband's making the money. We don't make that much. That's just for the taxes. Holy cow. Yeah, remind me I'm not rich. All right. Next, we have confession, and it's entitled I Saw My Mother Raping My Father When I Was a Kid, and She Called Me a Pervert. So, I guess trigger warning. Sorry. I should have said that earlier. My mother originally tried to leave my father, then he knocked her up with me. When my father tried to leave my mother, she raped him. This was when I was 11 years old. I lived in a remote town. For school holidays, Christmas, we would drive downstate to visit my uncle and cousins. My uncle had a two-story house with a granny flat downstairs. The granny flat had several bedrooms, for example, a bunk bed and three other beds, one double bed across from the bunk bed, and then a single bed around the corner. I think some random stretcher bed. I think he means a cot. The idea for guests or the kids to sleep upstairs had three bedrooms. Often on the school holidays, my cousins and I would all sleep downstairs with the adults. Got their rooms. We would basically have a slumber party downstairs every evening. That sounds fun. The adults often drank upstairs while we watched TV and played games. At some stage, my parents split, and My dad stayed with my uncle. My mother eventually took me down, as usual, to see my cousins. One night, my father, uncle, mother, and several other people were drinking upstairs. While my cousins and I were doing our thing. When we went to bed, my father stumbled downstairs, passed out on the double bed. Shortly after, my mother came down and started touching him and then trying to kiss him. My father literally told her to wang off. Shortly after, my mother climbed on top of him and started raping him. I tried to leave, and while on top of my dad, my mother aggressively threatened to kill me if I left. My cousins left. I rolled over and then cried while my mother kept saying my name while moaning. I think I was trying to make me watch. Mother was probably drunk too. She shouldn't. I mean, even if she wasn't even if he was cooperative, you shouldn't be doing that in front of the kids. I say I woke up being the only person left in the flat. My father was hungover at AF. My uncle threatened to beat the wang out of my mother and my father if they did that stuff in his house again. Yeah, because they were doing it in front of his children. I'd be pissed too. I'd probably never have them over again, to be honest. They'd probably be gone. Then my mother cornered me to tell me I was a pervert, sick, and slut. She didn't do anything. I was too young to understand what happened. Now at age 30, I really wish my uncle had beat my mother. She was projecting on me hardcore, trying to pretend I was the pervert and the sick freak when she was trying to force me to watch her R word my dad in a room full of children. I do actually wonder if she was trying to get pregnant again, try to get him to come back. I hope this is not real. I hope this is one of those AI things. Long reception says, what the wang? Somebody says they think they have PTSD. Yeah, no kidding. I think I do too. Maximum Divide asked what her relationship with her mom is like now, and she says, I don't talk to her. My current problem is relatives that try to get me back in contact with her. Yeah, I shouldn't. She's not right in the head. Then we have interesting AF, Monowi, Nebraska. The town of Monowi, Nebraska has a population of 1. Elsie Eiler, in her capacity as mayor, grants herself a liquor license and pays taxes to herself. That's awesome. I wish I could get away with that. And I assume this is Elsie Eiler. I wonder how she got incorporated. I think you have to be incorporated in most places. Oops. Um, In 2022, in 2020, she had two people. There were two people living there. No Strike said we should really do a recount. So somebody either moved out or passed away. That's wild. Am I the a-hole? AITA for wanting to keep my engagement ring for my late fiance. No, probably not. Using a throwaways. I don't want the drama of this on my main Reddit. I hope you all understand, of course. 36 female, lost my fiance nearly 11 years ago in a car crash. I'm so sorry. We were both in the car, but I got out with only minor injuries while he died instantly. This messed me up quite a bit as I was in and out of therapy and support groups for years over this. The support group where I met my current partner, 35 male, he is a widower who lost his wife to cancer, and we understood each other's pain and bonded over it. That's fair. 3 years ago, we started dating and we moved in last month. I remain close with the family of my late fiance since I lost him, and they were great support to me in the first years. However, his mother, 61 female, asked me last week for the ring he gave me back since I'm now seriously involved with another man. Nope. Mm-mm. That's her memento to keep. She said she wanted to keep the ring in the family and it'd mean a lot to have it. This upset me. The ring he gave me wasn't a family ring. It's a garnet and emerald ring he picked out because those are birthstones. I didn't want a traditional diamond. So this is not a family heirloom, ma'am. We picked the ring out together and he saved for months to get it for me. It holds a lot of beautiful memories for me, even if it's bittersweet. I'm now at the point where I can enjoy the good memories without too much pain. No, mommy is not entitled to this ring. Sorry, mommy. Me being in a relationship now doesn't mean I have this ring gathering dust in a drawer somewhere. Rare on my right hand now, the same way my partner wears his wedding ring. We both feel it's okay to honor our lost loves in this way, and neither of us have jealousy or negative feelings over this. How mature! Oh my goodness, I'm shocked. I'm shocked. I am shocked. You hardly ever see this type of maturity in people on Reddit. Now we have a picture of my fiance and his wife on the wall of our living room. Good. This is as it should be. You should honor your deceased partners, friends, old lovers. As long as you're not holding a candle for them, it's fine. Holding a candle, by the way, Shakespeare came up with that. Just letting you know. I told her I could understand if it had been a family ring he'd inherited, though that would have still made me feel a little weird to have her asking it back, but it isn't a family ring. It's my ring that we picked out together that I plan to wear the rest of my life. She insisted it should be back in the family. It's not a family ring. It shouldn't. Family has nothing to do with it. Oh my goodness. However, and that she wanted it as it was a last major purchase he made before he died. Oh, wah, wah, wah. Too bad. She wants it to sell it. I ended up hanging up on her as I was so upset I've been avoiding her calls since. My partner is angry on my behalf that she even asked this and told me she was being ridiculous and that I should wear the ring as long as I wanted to. I can't help but feel I'm being punished for finding someone to make me happy. Yeah, you shouldn't feel like that. That I was supposed to mourn him forever in her eyes. No, she just wants to sell the ring. It's a money thing to her. Trust me. I've spoken to my parents about this too and get their insight, and my mom feels that maybe I should give the ring back. As his mother is clearly just no, she's not just hurting, she just wants the ring back. She just wants it back to sell it. His mother is clearly hurting and wants to hold on to something of her son. She has all kinds of stuff, I'm sure. That mean more to her than this ring that belongs to somebody else does. My dad, meanwhile, says he can see both sides of it, and that's my choice. I don't know. I might be too emotional over this. Am I being the a-hole or unreasonable here? No. Edit. A couple of people seem confused. My current partner is not my new fiance or my husband. I call him my partner because he feels at his age being called a boyfriend is a bit too humorous as if he's young. He's still your boyfriend, honey. If we are being technical, however, he is my boyfriend. We've only just moved in together. I'm sorry if my wording caused any confusion. Big Toby says, you keep saying give the ring back. Stop using that language. There's no one to give it back to. It belongs to you and only you. That you would even ask is strange, but that's not your problem. The ring is yours. The answer is no. If she chooses to hold this against you, just let her. This has nothing to do with you. I would tell her there is no way on earth I would ever part with the ring, the love of your life purchased just for you. Sometimes you have to let people feel the way they feel, and sometimes their feelings ruin a relationship. You are NTA. Exactly. Rosebud, New York says, exactly. The only person OP could give it back to is dead. Exactly. So she can't give it back to anybody because it was never anybody else's ring to begin with. When my friend died, his family wanted the ring back from his fiance, and she was conflicted between keeping it or not. I told her gifts are not made to be taken back by people who didn't give them. NTA. Exactly. Exactly. I can't say it better. Hey, this is from Overheard, and it's called Girl Code. I drive for rideshare at moderately sized college, Florida college town. I'm driving these three young women to a party. Girl one, no matter how drunk we get, I need you to remind me to change my tampon when we get home. Girl, girl two, I got you, babe. I'm probably not even drinking that much tonight. Girl three, ugh, it looks like Tabitha is bringing Jake to the party. Girl two, oh, gross. Never mind. I am drinking, but I'll still remind you. First girl one has ADHD. I'm telling you that right now. Economy Dirt says that's all kinds of hilarious. Girl two is the kind of friend you want to have. Yep. Girls supporting girls. That's what Cat Mama says. Particular ad says girl one should set a reminder on her phone to avoid toxic shock syndrome. That's fine unless your phone's on it automatically goes on do not disturb. Girl RV says, damn Jake, what'd you do, bro? Intelligent Stranger says, who didn't Jake do? Dr. Holstover says, key takeaway Jake equals more gross than changing a tampon. Oh, that's awesome. Thank you for sharing that, OP. Appreciate it. I'm sure the girls don't, but nobody knows who they are, so it's okay. Next, we have True Off My Chest, entitled An Incredibly Gross Life Hack Has Been Saving Me, but I'm Too Embarrassed to Tell Anyone. Okay, so trigger warning, this might be bad. It's kind of gross and relates to pooping, so you have been warned, but I have to get it off my chest. One time, maybe back in 2019 or 20, I, female, saw a TikTok from a woman saying that if you are constipated or have a really big, stiff poop, you can actually put a finger, most successfully thumb, in your vagina and push on the wall to your anal canal, and that will help push the poop out. And it doesn't hurt. Pushing kind of helps reshape the excrements. I don't know in what desperation got her to try that, but there has been maybe 4 instances since where I was in agony in the toilet, and trying this life hack saved both me and my stomach. I'm pretty embarrassed to admit it, so I don't think I would share this hack with my friends, but I'm also proud it's actually working. So I thought I might be able to help someone with female organs and constipation problems out. Sorry, guys, you don't get to use this hack. Edit. Thanks for all the comments giving alternatives and sharing your story. But can people please stop with the diagnostic comments? You probably have, you need. I've done this maybe 3 or 4 times the last 6 years. I appreciate people trying to help, but it's not. And also, I can't believe my most popular post is about pooping. Planet Smasher says, I originally saw this on Reddit years ago. It absolutely saved my life on a camping trip once. Turns out that a steady diet of hot dogs and marshmallows is not great for your digestive system. Oh, my platypi says, I recently discovered it after my C-section, abdominal surgery, plus pain meds, plus postpartum. And the pain meds do cause constipation, by the way, equals unbearable constipation while also hormonal and sleep deprived. I couldn't push out due to surgery. Was desperate for relief from the cramps. I think they gave me a stool softener when I had my C-section. Cut like he says, day after my C-section, the morning nurse was doing her assessment, running through questions. She started to ask about BM and muttered to herself, oh, no, of course not yet. She was surprised when I said it had already gone. Felt like my organs were going to spew out my incision, but I went. However, after my first delivery, OMG, days passed before I felt like I could possibly go. And when I finally did, I felt that, yep, gotta go now sensation. My husband was in the shower in our only bathroom, and I was holding the baby, panicking. I legit snatched a plastic bag, popped a squat, and instinctively used that trick that I've never heard of. I felt like half an animal, half life an archaeologist, and I never said a word about it till now. I'm sure there are some people on here that can use that. You know who you are. I know whom some of them are. Animer says, This is the actual difference between men and women. I lack the hardware for this, but if I had done it, it would be on the list of stories I told late at night to my closest friends or siblings as dramatically as possible. Then I would have a code word for the story, like the time I shat myself, leading to the worst day of my life. It's politely known as the shitty day. I know I don't usually cuss, but that one had to be said. Sorry. Somebody asked, the wine archaeologist says, Why do you feel like an archaeologist? Is there an aspect to the job I'm unaware of? And the cut link, he says, I felt like I was digging very carefully. Sparrow on a Wire says, As an archaeologist, I just accepted it before even seeing your explanation. When you gotta poop, you gotta poop. Sometime you're in the middle of nowhere and you have to make do. If he's an archaeologist, he would know, or she. They would know. Okay, I got to read this one. Bikes and Art said, seriously, between constipation that come with pregnancy and 43 days of labor, 43 days of labor? Girl, I had three prolapses, rectal, bladder, and cervix. That sounds not like a fun time at all. I had some serious surgery to fix it all, but yeah, no more uterus. Updating here because damn, y'all. Prodromal labor is not Braxton Hicks. It's true labor and it starts and stops. Mine has anywhere from 12 hours a day for 40 days. Holy cow. You poor girl. I'm so sorry. I would have labor intensity level contractions. And trust me, they are different than Braxton Hicks. The first week they were more sporadic and then gradually increased in frequency until they were 1 to 3 minutes apart for 3 weeks. I couldn't dilate. They weren't going to let me dilate. I have it and have a premature baby. Of course not. At 29 weeks and 3 days, I would have think they would have done it before then. I mean, you're good at 38 weeks. Why did they make you suffer that long? They finally agreed to induce because my mental health was shot and I was worried I would end up in postpartum depression if it went any farther. I had Pitocin for 3 days. I had heard about how painful Pitocin labor is, but it was the same intensity it had for the last 3 weeks or so. The only thing that amped up to was where I couldn't handle it was turned into back labor for the last 6 hours or so. Oh God. Yeah. Had back labor too. That hurts. That hurts real bad. I deal with some physical disabilities in my back and hips. My pelvic floor was too tight to relax and allow me to dilate. I finally allowed them to do an epidural. Within 15 minutes, the epidural finished being put in. I went from a 6 to a 10 and pulled my daughter out of my own body after one push. So that's how you end up with rectal prolapse and bladder prolapse and cervical prolapse. Yikes. I now refer to my my badge as Frankenpussy. It was a lot of stitches. Obviously, I wasn't going to give any birth to any more children after that. I also had 5 months of morning sickness, almost to the threshold of hyperemesis and pubic symphysis disorder, all in a domino effect before the primordial started. So it was literally one thing after another for 9 months. Thankfully, I have a wife with a uterus, so she had her next baby. Oh, she's gay, so that's good. She can still have kids. Doesn't have a uterus, and she can still have kids. That's some advantages, I guess, to being LGBTQ. Um, I'm watching. It's called Jesse and Alicio on YouTube. They're a couple. He's from Italy. So before they were just going around and testing what's, what chain restaurants they like and stuff like that. Um, and they'd been trying to have a baby for a long time. We finally did um, got some help with that and got pregnant. And they'd done this in Italy and had a miscarriage, which is really sad. So now they're doing the whole pregnancy thing, and now they're stuck in the hospital for who knows how long. Um, she has placental previa. That's where the placenta is covering the cervix, and a lot of bleeding can happen. And now they think that she might, because she had endometriosis, which is why she couldn't get pregnant in the first place. Um, Apparently, that can cause the placenta to like attach directly to the muscles of the uterus, which is really bad and will cause a bunch of bleeding. And she's been bleeding and passing clots. So does not sound like a good situation, but um, I will try and remember. Let me make a note. I will try and remember to put a link to their they seem like a very sweet couple. I'm sure I'm spelling it wrong. So I'll put that in the in the description. I always say comments, but it's not really in the comments, it's in the description. Um, I'm telling people about this life hack, or I'm making sure they know about it. I have a friend who has surgery coming up, so she might need it too. um, but if you want to follow Jesse and Alicio and their saga, she also had very severe morning sickness the first several months, probably right up until like almost the halfway point, I think. I forget how long they are. They have a long road to hoe, and they're living in the hospital now, which my sister had to do because of twins. So it happens sometimes that you just have to start living in the hospital when you get pregnant, whether something like that or twins. If things are not going right, you end up living in the hospital because they have to be in the hospital to make sure that if something happens, they're right there. And if something bad really happens, you want to be right there. I have also had somebody. This is somebody I didn't know at all. Was a kid actually had leukemia. Was in the hospital. Um, had to have all kinds of stuff done. She had, chemotherapy. You're in the hospital, especially as a kid. Um, and then she had something wrong with her lung and had to have part of her lung removed. So she's just getting recovered from the lung, and she had an aneurysm, an abdominal aneurysm burst. And if you don't know, that will kill you. It killed my grandmother, my aunt on the operating in the operating room. So thankfully they were able to stop hers, and she's, as far as I know, fine now. I don't have any contact with anyone that has contact with her anymore, but things happen, and if you're not in the hospital right then, you might not make it. So it's best for you to be in the hospital if you have to be. This is from True Off My Chest. An incredibly gross life. Oh, nope, we already read that. I don't know what I deleted. Next is what do I do? And it's entitled Pretty Sure I Found Out My Wife's Reddit and Now I'm Worried. How do I bring it up? Yikes, that sounds serious. Not sure how to start. I was scrolling through Reddit thread and found a comment with a story that seemed too familiar. I obviously had to snoop. I'm 100% sure it's my wife's account. There's a few worrisome things on there. Lots of posts about being tired of being a burden for me and her friends. Well, she obviously isn't. Ending it all and about her trauma. Oh, dude, get her some help. I don't know. I need to bring it up with her, but how? I knew she was struggling, but I didn't know it was this bad. Oh, P, I'm so sorry. That sounds horrible. I'm glad you found it though. Okay, Apricot said, I would talk to her calmly and just tell her what you told us. Hey, I found your Reddit. I didn't mean to. Just happened. I read some of your posts because I was curious and I became concerned for you. I know about the trauma in your past and that still affects you, but I had no idea it was this bad, making you feel this horrible. I love you and I want you to hear you are not a burden. You are one of the best things in my entire life, and I will do anything I can to help you. What can I do? Sounds like a good place to start, but she definitely needs help. TR Bryant said, I have a sister who struggles with depression. Every once in a while, something like this bubbles to the surface, and this is how I handle it. Me. Is this you? Soft eyes, shoulders. Take advantage of her shock and silence of being discovered and just remind her of how beautiful and precious she is to you. Not syrupy flattery, just actual uncontested moments that a compromised emotional state can refute. She's going to cry and you're going to be triggered by it, but don't stop because she needs to hear it. She needs to hear you through the emotional soup she's in. And then after you're finished, feed her her favorite food and cuddle with her under warm covers until she falls asleep. It doesn't fix her permanently. She's just beautiful differently. You're a good person, TR Bryant. Oh, all right. That's enough. Yeah, it's really hard to know somebody's struggling and not know what to do about it. Really hard. Mildly infuriating might cheer us up a little bit though, believe it or not. Um, so this is happening. And he's a cute little guy. Oh, I'll bring it back up for you. Um, I should have done this to begin with. Okay. So you can look while I do this. This little shit has been hanging out on my ceiling light for an hour now. Just right below is our family dining table. How do I get rid of it? Well, you wait till dark and you open all the doors and windows. DB says turn the lights off in the house, open the doors and windows. It should fly out. 3 times out of 3, I've had them in my house. It worked. We've had to, because they were in the basement, because they somehow got to the basement, which you can open a window and get out of. Um, throw throw a towel or a blanket over them and then take them outside. They won't come back in. We've had we've had this happen several times in our house. At least he's calm and not flying all over the place. And McDoka, do you live in an art exhibition? Atlanta says, I know, right? Just have the staff deal with it. Mm. Super Poodle says, why they change a light bulb? He's pretty cute though. Tell Alfred to bring him back to the Bat Cave. Oh, that's cute. He's so cute though. You really do need to get up there though because and fix that spider web. Next is am I overreacting? AIO to tell my husband that it's starting a professional email with the word look is rude. Yeah, probably not the best wording. I'm trying I'm not going to make my case or explain why I think it's unwise because I want your sincere perspectives without me trying to convince trying to convince you. My husband is an insurance underwriter who works from home. My son-in-law did that for a while. In the past, he's faced criticism for being condescending in his interactions with agents. Some of this criticism is valid, and much is a product of agents not like being told no by somebody responsible for making decisions that shield our company from undue risk. I happened to walk by and see the email he was starting. He was telling an agent that an exception would not be possible, so it started something like this: "Look, the protection class on this is poor." That's not the exact sentence, but you get the idea. I said, "Oh, that's not a good way to start a sentence. It looks condescending." It depends on where in the process you are. Have you already told this guy no 3 times? Because if you've already told this guy 3 times, that's not rude at all. I mean, it may be rude, but he deserves it. He was pretty irritated at me. He thinks it's a neutral introduction word, and without it, it's rude because it's abrupt. No, no, dude. He feels like he's criticized no matter how he phrases things, and that's possible. I worry that he could miss subtle social perceptions, possibly with the lack of tone that comes across in written communication. He doesn't have a problem with me expressing opinions about work, by the way. He just disagrees. AIO to point this perspective out. Edited to add. I've gotten hundreds of valuable responses, and I basically spent all day reading and responding to as many as possible. A few further points. I've gotten hundreds of valuable responses and basically spent all day reading and responding as much as possible. Okay, sorry, I already read that. We both work at this company and regularly rely on each other's expertise. Okay, so she's not like just throwing an opinion around. From his perspective, there is zero issue with this being unsolicited advice. He just disagreed, and I posted because I wanted to check my perspective on the phrasing. We've since had a civil discussion. This is a work discussion, not a relationship discussion anyway. We've since had a civil discussion and he's acknowledged the issue. He was irritated in the moment because he didn't see it that way. Yes, he deleted the word because he trusted my judgment. Several people have suggested I butt out, mind my own business, and let him face the consequences of his actions. They suggested I know my place. The answer to that is no. He's been written up in the past over agent complaints about the issue. He's been denied promotions. He's actively working on rebuilding his reputation with management. If he loses his job because of this, I'll face the consequences too. In our wedding vows, we pledged to shore up each other's weaknesses. He has done that for me countless times, and we both take each other's advice very seriously. I know my place. I'll never just let him fail so I can say I told you so while we face financial ruin. I also speak up truthfully and I respect him respectfully, and I help him respectfully. Thanks, but no thanks for that advice on Reddit. Edit 2. No, he won't use AI, nor should he. Look, everything you put in AI becomes accessible to the people who own it. Haha, see what I did there? He explains the internal procedures are prior, pro, uh, purport, I can't even say it. Preparatory. Jeez, and discusses customers' private information. Other insurance companies are always trying to find data on the policies of competitors and underwriter guidelines. They're a big piece of that strategy. They aren't going to feed emails into AI, well, nor should they. Damn it, Maxwell says. I write other people's emails for a living, and I'm so thankful for people who are bad at it. You are correct, but it can also just drastic concern that it would be rude to start the email by jumping straight into the protection class. He needs a different start or something like, thanks for the question, the protection class, or even just hi, Beth, the protection class. And she says, those are good examples. I wanted to help workshop something better, but I couldn't immediately perceive that he wasn't having a receptive moment. I need to get off here. We have 3 more to go. All right, we're done with that one. Corporate decided this. Actually, I should do this. Read below starts today. What's happening? 6-7 is a viral Gen Alpha meme where kids out 6-7 and often pair it with with a playful hand gesture as humorous in the moment reaction. While it doesn't carry a specific meaning, it is widely recognized as and trending across social norms. To keep our brand culturally relevant and meet guests where they are, we will be tapping into this popular moment to spark debate and drive. No, no, absolutely not. This our lighthearted trend offers a fun opportunity to contact your younger audiences and show our brand. Only if you want only if you want the kids to think your entire staff is cringe. Offer details. Launch date Wednesday, December 10th, 2025. Offer free kids Sunday or free holiday hot cocoa and cookie from 6 to 7 with the purchase of a kids meal. Dine in only every day from 6 to 7, including Tuesdays when kids eat free with the purchase of an adult entree of $10 or more. If a guest visits on Tuesday and pays for an adult entree, they will get a free kids meal and plus a 6-7 free dessert. I mean, okay, but don't call it that. It's dumb. Marketing support, ringing instructions. Seems like a very short amount of time between 6 and 7. Dining only is fine. Including Tuesdays is fine. This is silly. I'm sorry, but this is silly. Kids are only going to think you're cringe. And he puts insane, to be honest. Somebody says corporate, and then the meme of how you doing, fellow kid. Did I do that? It's small, but in case you're unaware. Oh, good grief. People, stop. Stop. Just stop. Katie Lee says, I don't understand the issue with the OP, but I think I actually may be this guy. Going into the meme. Oh. Corporate is the same as all other corporate divisions, full of brainworms. Dan Talent answers, a few people are probably being paid 6 figures a year to come up with garbage like this, so the poor people at the bottom can suffer through this. And I still say the kids are just going to think you're cringe. They're not going to go for this. Well, the older ones, the ones that don't qualify for the free dessert, are going to think you're cringe. Just saying. Just saying. Now we have Best of Redditor updates entitled AITA for sleeping with my sister's boyfriend, but it's not what it sounds like. Sure, Jan. Sure. This was originally posted to AITAH on December 2nd, 2025. So very recently. My sister, 26 females, dating and soon to be engaged to my 25 female ex-boyfriend. Oh, okay. My sister is soon to be engaged to my boyfriend, ex-boyfriend. She's 20, the sister's 26. OP is 25 and the ex-boyfriend is 26 male. I know he's planning on proposing or was as I was helping him. When I was 16, I dated my sister's now boyfriend for about 6 months. It wasn't a super serious relationship, but we, as most teenagers do around that age, did have sex. We did it a few times, but nothing obscene. The relationship ended amicably because we simply didn't want to date anymore. Okay. Seems like an okay situation. There were no harsh feelings, and we remained friends throughout high school and college. When my sister was around 23, she moved back to our hometown a year or so after college, and he was living there also. They began to spend time together, and she asked if it would bother me if they began to date. I had absolutely no problem with it. And I told her there were absolutely no weird feelings, and I didn't even consider him a serious relationship. It was nearly 10 years ago. They've been dating for the past 3 years, and he plans to propose and has even asked for my help. This sounds like I mean, as far as dating your sister's ex boyfriend, this sounds like a perfectly adult and reasonable relationship between all three of them. Now for the actual conflict. About a week ago, I, my sister, her boyfriend, and a few of our mutual friends went out to dinner. During one of the conversations, my sister made a joke about how he better propose soon because she was starting to feel like an old maid, her words. I asked her what she meant, and she said they were both saving themselves for marriage. Oops. Somebody's lying. I asked her if she meant in this relationship or if she was saving herself, period. She said they had both been saving themselves their whole life. No, I haven't. I gave her boyfriend a strange look from across the table and she caught it. She asked why I looked at him weird and I said it was nothing and tried to move past it. That's good on you, OP. Probably shouldn't have given him the look though. Probably should have talked about it in private. She insisted I tell her why because she thought I was judging them. I confessed we had sex in high school, though it didn't really mean anything. She got mad at him, as she should. I mean, he did lie. She got mad at him for lying, and somehow he managed to convince her that it never happened, and she never got mad at me for making stuff up, and direct quote, trying to sabotage our future marriage because you're not over him. I told her I was, in fact, completely over him, and that I was also not lying, and then they both got up and left. My friends know I was telling the truth. I have tried to contact her to back me up. She hasn't answered any of them and texted me the day after saying that I wouldn't be invited to the future wedding if I didn't admit to lying. I do feel really bad and I wish I hadn't said anything or lied about why I looked at him, but I feel like I owed it to her because she's my sister and he was lying. Should have handled it differently. Not to have told her at all, etc. AITAH. Life temperature says if he was banging you at 16, there's a strong chance he banged others from 17 to 23, right? Always NT. Anyways, NTA. No, I mean, he was lying to her. He's been lying to her their entire relationship, it sounds like. Does she really want to marry somebody that's lying to her all the time? Miserable fondant said, I would be willing to bet that the issue of whether he had sex with you specifically was brought up early on. It bothered her, so he decided to lie about it because that would have seemed easier to him than dealing with the whole issue. You are not responsible for facilitating his lies, and you are not NTA, and you are NTA for being honest with her. But I doubt the relationship survives. Updated next December 3rd, 2025. Okay, so I'm going to first start out with some context to clear up the confusion I was seeing. My sister and I grew up kind of religious with pretty old-fashioned parents. Can relate. I didn't really buy into all of the religion stuff, but my sister did. Not quite as much as my parents, but definitely more than me. They always told us to wait till marriage, but I clearly did not listen to them. And I guess it never occurred to me that my sister probably did. The reason she never knew about us sleeping together is because I didn't tell her, because I thought she might tell my parents, and I didn't want to deal with them. The reason I didn't know she was waiting is because she's always been one to keep that kind of thing to herself, very set on having her own privacy, and all that's fine. All that's perfectly fine. When I said we weren't in a serious relationship in high school, it's because I'm a firm believer that no high school relationship is that serious. Some of them are, though. I had I know people who met in high school, got married right out of high school, are still married today, and I'm 61. So it's been a while. We also both knew we weren't planning on staying together forever. We only slept together two, maybe three times, which in my mind isn't serious even for teenagers. And that's also correct. My sister asked me if I would be okay with them dating. She specifically asked if I would find it weird or uncomfortable, and I told her as long as she wasn't bothered by the fact we used to be a couple, I had no reservations. She said that she didn't mind at all, which I mistakenly took as she knew we slept together and didn't care. I'd always known him to be pretty truthful and never took it to mean that he actually completely lied to her. At the dinner, the three of us were sitting at one end of the table and having an argument very quietly, so my friends didn't know what was happening until they got up and left. Shoot, went away. um, he said some BS about maybe their talk of marriage made me jealous and stirred up old feelings. That's when she turned on me and I left. Now to the update. My sister came over this morning. We had a conversation and made amends. She told me that he had proposed a few days ago, but she hadn't told anyone because what I said was still weighing on her. She said that last night she went through his phone and found out that he has been cheating on her repeatedly for most of the relationship. Oh, what a scumbag. And that he slept with people before they were together. Of course, well, we all knew that, right? She confronted him this morning and they had a huge argument where he said that the reason he lied was because he knew it was important to her that they were both virgins and that she wouldn't have stayed with him if she found out he wasn't one. And he really does love her and want to marry her, but not enough to keep his dick in his pants. She thankfully did not believe him and ended it. She came straight over to apologize and hear my side of the story. I asked her why she blindly believed him and left the restaurant and wouldn't answer me, and she said she was embarrassed because waiting until marriage has always been a big deal for her, and she didn't want to believe that he was as committed to her as she was to him. I, of course, accepted her apology. We both decided to move past and always trust each other. That's good. Now you're sisters. Sisters again. She has also decided that she is going to take some time to reconsider what values are most important to her. All is not now well. Our ex is totally TA. And please don't say anything rude about my sister. I love her a ton. She just had a weak moment. I don't have anything bad about to say about your sister other than that she didn't believe you. Now she does, so it's all good. Somebody says a genuine, decent conclusion with the sister realizing OOP isn't the problem. Chiz Master seems like they're both mature adults. The ex, on the other hand, yeah, no kidding. Pristine Direction said, and now they have something to bond over. This one made me smile. And of course, that almost always has some kind of shirt or something. It says 93-year-old widow donated her late husband's $1 billion to cover school tuition in New York City's poorest area forever. And OP says that is one step to improving society. Yeah, good for her. Thank you for that. um, Reaction Jiff says the one thing to understand about this is not that the 1 billion lasts forever, is that the scholarship is powered by the interest the 1 billion generates. Yes, if you didn't know that, that's how that works. There's a thing called the MacArthur Genius Prize. You basically nominate a starving artist or researcher or whomever that is making some type of important contribution to society. They pick around 25 winners each year, and each winner gets $300,000. Let's less than pursue the art research work without being concerned with earning a living. The creator of the scholarship is dead, but he worked in insurance and was like, how much money could he have earned in insurance that his estate can give out all this money every year without running out? Because it's interest. $1 billion generates a lot of interest. And then there's some issue with how the money's being distributed to people, which sucks, but it is what it is. All right, that's all I have for today. I hope everybody does well. I know it's pretty short, which is okay. I'm going to go work on probably Little Johnston's because we're saving Sister Wives till the end of the end. There was another new Sister Wives today, or this week, so one more week, maybe. I don't know. We'll get to it eventually. We'll have a whole week of just Sister Wives. It'll be fun. So, until tomorrow, same bat time, same bat channel. Take care, biddies. Love you. Bye. Bye, biddies.